Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Right, what's up, guys? This might be a video that most video for a lot of those friends of Andrew Tate. So and I'm sure most of them have seen this interview. These are direct words coming from Andrew Tate's mouth. The things that he's been accused of, he said he was doing them. So there is absolutely nothing new. Nothing is being fabricated. Everything that he's been apparently but not charged yet of, he himself said those things. He said that is what he was doing. He explained how he gets some of his girls, how he twists the system, how he defraud them, how he used them for his own purpose. He sleeps with them, he fools them, he cons them, he dodges taxes. Everything that is going to come on him, he snitched on himself. So I don't think there's any blame to be spread around. People didn't like him? Yes. He was rich? Yes. How he got the money? He said it. So if he's been charged with sex crime and holding girls out of their will, the man said it himself. And he also mentioned that he takes some of their passports so they can stay. He said, the worst thing is, he said he fakes tax receipt or tax document. So what he tells them is, we are splitting the profit 50-50. And then he again tells them that, but you have to pay tax. And what he does is, he goes and he makes some fake tax receipts. And he shows those receipts to the girls. And the girls will then believe that he's paying tax and he wasn't paying any taxes. That's fraud. That is deception, which is fraud. And the man sold himself. So the lesson for this is, if you're making your money in a not legit way, the best thing for you to do is to shut up and keep making your money. Don't snitch on yourself. When you talk too much, your words will come back to haunt you. And when they come back to haunt you, why blame people? Blame yourself. You said it. Nobody knew, but you said it. So, who am I to judge him? He's got money, he's got Bugattis, he's got Maseratis, he's got Ferraris, he's got mansions. I ain't got nothing. But we are just following from what he said. So, if you're out there doing some dodgy, fishy things, the best thing is for you to keep your mouth shut and keep making your money. And fingers crossed, because it's always 99 days for you, and one day the law is gonna come crashing on you. And when it comes, don't say people are hating on you. It's always gonna happen. All right, watch this video, say what you think, drop your comments, and don't forget, if you subscribe, that's good. If you don't, still drop your comments. All right, let's enjoy this, and we all wish he's gonna be safe. There was news today that he was taken to the hospital. Hope he's good. Why are we even talking about Andrew Tate?
This is what I don't know.
It's because he made us to talk about him. Anyway, see you guys, and what more to say? I'm out.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. And today we're reacting to some criticism I've received online. A lot of the supporters of Andrew Tate think I'm taking things out of context. But before we get to what we're going to talk about today, this episode is brought to you by what? What do you think? eForms.com perhaps? Absolutely. Form. Let's say you're going into a webcam business with Andrew Tate and you're worried that he's not going to give you a fair shake. Well, you get him to sign a partnership agreement or any kind of business agreement, or if you need to evict him from your home, or if you need to give Andrew Tate power of attorney because he wants to control every part of your life, well, then you get a form from eForms.com. Doesn't matter what state you're in, eForms.com has got just about everything you need. So just go to eForms.com. You don't need a guy like me to do it. Do it yourself on eForms.com. Power of attorney, bill of sale, partnership agreement, rental agreement, whatever you need, eForm.com has you covered. All right. So here's the thing. I think I've come off in one of my last videos as not liking Andrew Tate, and people got offended by that, saying that I'm not being objective and that I'm taking some of his things out of context. Let's just talk about what we're talking about here. I talked to you 5 months ago and I told you that Andrew Tate is going to be on the police blotter. So I wouldn't be surprised if down the line, guess who we see on the blotter? We see Mr. Tate. I knew he was. And it's not just because I don't like him. It has nothing to do whether I like him or dislike him. This is a legal analysis show, right? I mean, that's the thrust of it. And one of the things I talk about is self-snitching, right? And so, and one of the things that I was trying to comment on is that there's a treasure trove of stuff that he's put out there to show that he is probably guilty of the crimes that they're talking about. And all the stuff that he's put out there can be used against him, not taken out of context. So what is he charged with? He's charged with sex trafficking. And I would venture to bet that maybe even some tax stuff might come down the pike. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Sex trafficking, there's unless you're dealing with underage, when we don't have any evidence that anybody's underage, but we have three things: force, fraud, or coercion. Force, obviously, that's like being in chains and not being allowed to leave. Fraud, being kept there under false pretenses. If there's an element of fraud in the way that you are enticing somebody or keeping somebody in a particular position to work for you, and if it's in the sex business, that's sex trafficking. Or coercion, threat of harm or some other way to limit your movement. And so let's kind of look at one of his very first videos that he did. These are his words, not my words. And I'm going to play it, and I'm not going to take it out of context. We'll play this. Let's just make sure I'm not taking things out of context.
When you say webcam company, people assume, oh, it's just a sex fest. But in reality, it's a shitload of people management. The HR category of the webcam business is the largest and most important thing. You're effectively taking girls, teaching them how to make unlimited money from home, and then making sure they give it all to you.
So you're making sure that you're teaching girls how to make a shit ton of money and give it all to you. Now, this is one of his first instructional videos. A lot of guys, he's got a lot of fans. And a lot of guys think, oh, in order to have some wealth, you have to have a Bugatti, you have to do this, you have to do that. In order to have wealth, you have to have self-pride. You have to know who you are as a person. And where do you get that from? You get that from building, as I've always said. So I do two things. I like to be motivation for younger guys and women for that matter, who are looking at maybe a possible direction in their career. So I like to motivate people in a very positive way. But the other thing I do is I do offer a legal analysis of what's going on here. Right off the bat, he tells you that his main goal is to have them work for him and him get all the money.
Webcam studios everywhere. There's one webcam studio down the road called Studio 20 with 100 rooms. 100 rooms, 8-hour shifts, 3 girls a day. That's 300 girls a day working, and they all work on LiveGasming. So if you're going to go on LiveGasming, you're going to be competing with big-time guys. And what you want to be competing with is people at home in their bedrooms. You don't want to be competing with serious businessmen, because I know for a fact, Studio 20, the owner of Studio 20 and the owner of the website itself, Lives Yasmin, are friends, and they've got some kind of backhander agreement. So all the Studio 20 girls appear high on the web page. They appear at the top of the page. Obviously, if you're going to go on there, you don't want to scroll down 10 pages to find a girl. You're going to go to the girls in the first row. All his girls appear high up because he's given the guy a backhand. It's all this shady business. It's a huge competition market.
So you can see his main thrust is just making money. And he doesn't give a shit how he does it, really. He's going to tell you in a second here the origin of the story. And he's repeated these same concepts through multiple interviews, right? And so when you say I'm taking things out of context, we've sourced this and sourced this and sourced this, and he's repeated it multiple times. It is something when you hear who he wants to compete. He doesn't want to compete with the main factories. He wants to compete with the girls that are at home. So it that gives you an indication that he's going. It's like in nature, I suppose. It's you go after the weakest.
Now, I've told very shortly my story, how I kind of started my whole webcam business. I'll tell it again in detail here. I was fighting. I had some money. I had 70,000 pounds in a safe in my...
One of our viewers had indicated that he's gotten most of his money from fighting. He had 70 grand, 70,000 euros or pounds or whatever he had, and that was it.
Bedroom in my house. I wanted to buy property in Thailand and move to Thailand. I needed 80,000. I was 10 grand short, and I thought I'd go to the casino and make the 10.
That's also telling. I'm going to go to the casino and try to make money when he's not even a gambler. Guys, stay away from the casino. There's a reason that they're so big.
Which was obviously, we all know how that story went. So I lost 30, so now I need 40. I needed it quickly. So I was sitting there trying to find a way to make money. So how can I make money? And what I did was, I said to Tristan, I'm literally not leaving my room until I have a way for us to make more money. Because I can only fight so many times per year, and I know their income. So I got a pen and paper, and I was on YouTube, like researching, how people make money, what millionaires have, and they kept talking about assets. And I was sitting there thinking, what assets do I have? I'm trying to buy a property. I mean, I didn't own a property in the UK at the time.
Now, think about the word asset. What is an asset? Well, I suppose this hat is an asset. It's not worth much, but it's really the brand is worth a lot more than the hat is. But what is an asset? The office, the building, your brand. Those are assets. Things that you own are assets.
Times they didn't pay me tax to anyone. I didn't want to pay taxes, so I didn't buy a house to confirm me. So I was like, what?
And keep in mind, keep that tax theme in the back of your head.
What assets do I have? Okay, I have a car. I have this. I have that. And then I realized I had about 5 girlfriends, all smoking hot. And females are an asset. Attractive females are absolutely an asset. And if you disagree with me, walk in the club with 10 blondes and you'll see who the most important guy in the club is. Fuck the champagne shows.
Who the fuck cares who the most important guy in the club is? The most insecure guy in the club, it's important to that guy. But it should never be important to you to be the most important guy in the club. What should be important to you is the people around you having their respect, but having their respect not because you're walking in there with 12 blondes.
I've walked into a club with 10 girls, and there's guys next to me doing champagne shows. Is anyone looking at their table or my table? No one gives a fuck about their table. Pussy is the most important driving force of this planet. Pussy is the only reason that empires were started and wars were waged. It's the only reason all you guys are out there are even interested in having money. If there was no pussy about, you wouldn't care about having money. You'd say, oh, I'll have a little bit of money and I'll just play chess all day. I don't care, I'll play video games. The only reason we want cars and clothes and six-packs and houses and shit is for girls.
That is so simplistic.
Girls are the driving force. So when I realized I had all these assets, I had to find a way to monetize the assets.
Now remember, the assets, are something you own. He's got 5 women that he believes are his assets. Now he's going to make money off of them.
I knew some street pimps. I've known them for a long time. Straight street pimping is a completely... In fact, no, it's not a completely different game. The psychological aspect is the same.
So, now I'm not taking things out of context. He's saying the psychological aspect of what he's going to be doing is the exact same psychological aspect of street pimping, and that is control.
Of what we're going to do. The skill I'm going to teach you is exactly the same. I could easily translate mine to a street business, and you could easily street pimp with the things I'm going to teach you. But I didn't want no one else fucking my girl. That's the truth. My girls. I want to fuck my girls. I want some other guy fucking my girls. What the fuck's the point in that? So, long story short, blah, 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 blah. Discovered webcam and went from there. Flew all 5 girls in at once. Sat them all down. So I've been going out with all of you. Here's the truth. Starting a business. You want to make money or not? 2 decided to stay. 3 started crying. Got back on the plane. Because they're all different places in the world. I had them for when I was fighting. So I went and fought in Slovakia. I've got a girlfriend. Went and fought in France. Got a girlfriend. Went and fought. So I had all these girls around the world. So I told them all to fly in, sat them all down together. Like, who the fuck are all these other girls? I was like, okay, truth time. Bang.
All these other girls probably think they're exclusive before they come to him, right? And now all of a sudden he lays the truth down on them. What is that's deception from the very beginning. His words, not mine.
I'm a G. They're fucking you all.
I'm a G.
I'm going to start a business. You're all going to live here with me. 3 got back on the plane. 2 decided to stay. 2 weeks later, 1 left. And so I was left with 1. But starting with 1 is good. But those 2 weeks, I fucked them together a few times.
The G, as he calls himself, started with 5. Now he's down to 1. How much respect would you have for the 1 girl that's still standing there? The 4 girls, thank God that they had the sense. But really, who is the bigger man? Is the bigger man that's the fucking poser who walks into a club with 12 girls? Or is the bigger man who is the honorable guy who stands by his family, raises a family, has a decent job, goes to work every day, is solid? I'd rather go to a pub than a club any day. When you are that guy, not the G, but when you are a solid guy where you're there for your family, you're not trying to manipulate anybody, and you're a provider for your family, and you are a solid, straight guy, that's the G. That's the person who's the real man.
Your goal is to inspire a girl to make money and give you the money.
Your goal is to rip her off. That's really what he's telling you. Those are his words. I'm not taking anything out of context. We're not chopping this up. This is his little seminar that he was pitching to all these guys out there who think he's got something to offer.
So the way you're going to do that is you have to have some element of influence. And you're going to have that element of influence through her respecting you, looking up to you, and her believing she needs you.
Now that is a critical thing. You know, the old pimps, what they would do is they'd find some young girl at the bus station. This is an old school kind of thing, or the mall or whatever. And they shower them with gifts, and then they think they're the best, and and these are chicks that don't have any self-esteem whatsoever. And then they start working for them, and then, but it's a slow process. But it's a slow process of mind control and physical control, control with money, control with emotions, and actual physical control.
And this is extremely important because at the beginning she will need you, but then she won't need you. But you have to keep that fallacy, keep that dream alive.
Fallacy, that's his word. His word. Not taking this out of context. So she'll need you at first, but then she won't. But you have to keep her convinced that she does need you. That's how you control. That's the control part. And it is a fallacy. And what is fallacy? Fraud.
She can't do this without you, to ensure that she doesn't do it without you. So this is what screen share is all about. Effectively, this is the way the business works. The girl sits on the camera. Now, when the girl is on camera, and you would have seen from my promotional video, that was at the height of my webcam empire. The blonde in that video I'm still with now. You'll see from there how we explain that there's people typing or pretending to be the girl 24 hours a day. So it hasn't got to be 24.
That part, I suppose, is fine in terms of a business model. But it's fraud. I mean, he's the one typing, and so you think you're getting all excited by something she's saying, and here you're really communicating with Andrew Tate.
But that method is very important for 2 reasons. First, let me explain how it works. Listen up, motherfuckers. So the girl's on the webcam. She's sitting here. When a girl is on camera, she has a public room, which people will visit, and they will spend money in and talk shit.
And when you think about it, the people that he's appealing to on these webcams are just a bunch of really lonely guys, and there's a ton of them out there.
It is your job to train the girl to talk to and interact with that public room as much as possible. So when people come in the room and say, "Oh, hey, how are you?" She's like, they type. The men type, "Hey, how are you?" It comes in the box. She goes, "Oh, hey, I'm fine, thank you." And she has to make sure her public room is engaging and interesting as much as possible to keep people in the room. Now, while the public...
So there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with what he's actually doing. It's the nature of how he's getting the girls there and keeping them there.
She can also receive private messages. And all those private messages you are going to reply to. And you're going to reply to them via screen share on a computer in a different room. As long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network, you're having more conversations with men than a girl could ever have on her own. Because she's too busy on her own. She's overwhelmed. She can't talk to all these people. So some guys you have to negotiate with, some guys you have to do a deal with, some guys whatever. You can do all that shit. But even more importantly, it makes the girl believe that she can't do it without you.
That's a recurring theme, that she can't do it without you. She is reliant on you. She needs you. And why is that important? Because if she thinks she can do it on her own, guess what? She does it on her own, and you've lost your profit center. That's what he's talking about. That's why the control is such an important aspect of what he does.
At the beginning, she can, but there'll become a point she can't. But you being here, it synergizes this teamwork energy. We're going to do this together. Yeah, you go on the camera. Don't worry, I'll talk to the guys. I'm going to talk to them. We're a team. Happy, positive teamwork. There's no negative energy in this business. You have to be positive. So by you typing for the girl, you maximize your money, and also she believes she needs you, which is extremely important. Later on down the line, I got to the point where I'd hired typers. So I didn't have to type. So I'd hired girls to sit and type and pretend to be the girls. So I had girls online. I had an office full of girls pretending to type. So I had 4 typers, 20 girls online, for example. Another reason we use Chatterbait is because they will pay you in Bitcoin.
This is another critical part of what he does, and that may impact a criminal prosecution of him later. And if you recall at the beginning of this video, he talked about not wanting to own property because he didn't want to pay taxes. And him not paying taxes is a recurring theme. And so if he's avoiding taxes, you can't avoid taxes with Bitcoin. I mean, you still owe the money. If you're making money, it's income, you have income taxes. Just because you're paid in Bitcoin doesn't mean that you don't owe the taxes. So let's continue.
They'll pay you in Bitcoin. You put in your Bitcoin address and they'll pay you in Bitcoin. And this is amazing because you've all seen the thought audit shit that's going on. You've all seen the fucking legalities of banking. Trying to get money out of these sites into your bank without paying a shitload of tax is actually very difficult.
See, it's that.
So if your girl on there working, let's say you generate $3,000, $4,000, bang, you get Bitcoin into your wallet. Done. No fucking tax, no thought audit, none of that shit. And I had a separate phone with all my girls' guys in that phone, and I kept control of it. And I would speak to them, and before she went online, I would tell her like any basic information. You don't let your girl have this, because if your girl ever runs off and leaves you, which is going to happen to some of you at least, you don't want her to have an address book of all the guys she can get money from.
Another aspect of control. You don't want her to have your client list, because if she has your client list, she can leave you. So you've got to restrict her information. So it's systematic, and it's a systematic method of control to control these women. Now, these are not my words. These are his words and his words alone.
You want her to leave and go, well, I don't know the account. I don't have the password to the account. I've never set it up before. I don't know how the banking works. I don't have any of my guys' phone numbers. I have nothing. And that's why they don't want to leave, because they're like, oh, well, he has everything. I need him. I have to stay with him. He has everything. It's important. I'm telling you, it's a very important element, that control.
It's a very important element, that control.
The girls will be like, well, what the fuck do I need this dude for? And they will leave if you don't have every aspect under control. Tax is also another important element for controlling your woman. You're not going to pay anybody tax because you're getting paid in Bitcoin. So you don't need to pay tax to anybody.
That's not legal advice, by the way.
You need to tell your girl that you're paying the tax. Because girls are lazy, and girls are stupid, and girls don't understand how taxes work. So the girl's working with you, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we've made this much money, but I'm going to pay the tax to make sure we don't get in trouble. She'll sit there and go, okay, okay. Now that allows you to do 2 things. One, it's another control element.
See how that control is a recurring theme over and over and over again?
If I work with him, my tax is not a problem. If I do it alone, I have to deal with taxes. Taxes are complicated. It's a control element.
And he doesn't have respect for these women at all because he thinks they're stupid.
It allows you to pay her a smaller percentage. So I used to pay my girls 30%. So for every $10,000 they made, I'd give them 3, and I'd keep 7. They thought they were on 50%. And I said that the disparity is because of taxes. So you're on 50%, but we had to pay the tax first, and then it's 50-50. If they say, why is it 50-50? Because I'm the one on camera. You say, because I'm the one typing, I'm the one with the property you're working in, I'm the one paying the bills, the electricity, I'm the one who's and the electricity and every other maintenance cost of this property. I'm the one who bought the equipment. I'm the one who knows what he's doing. I'm the one with the knowledge. I'm the da-da-da-da-da-da. Shut the fuck up. Go online. And they should be pretty happy with that if they respect you as a person overall. So really you're paying 30, you tell them you're paying 50. The difference is in the tax. That's where the disparity lies, taxes. If they don't believe you or they want to get fresh or whatever, print out some tax forms. I used to do this all the time. I used to print out some random tax forms and say, yeah, sign here and sign this. What is it? It's for the tax. You want to pay the tax or not? Oh, okay. And they just sign away. They don't know what they're fucking signing. I'll throw them away afterwards. But they think something's happening. Something real's happening. Nothing's happening besides me getting rich, bitch.
Nothing's happening except for me getting rich, bitch. That's what he just said. So he's taking another 20% of what would have been their earnings. His words. Having them even sign a dummy tax form that is just to try to convince her even more that he's paying some taxes, which is just ridiculous. And so, what is the middle word? Fraud. That's fraud. Force, fraud, or coercion.
Anyway, so tax is another important element to keep control of the girl. You have to fuck the girls. You cannot do a business relationship with a female, and I'll tell you why. Women have sex with somebody. If they're not fucking you, they're fucking somebody else. Now, a woman is always going to be the most loyal to the guy she's fucking, as opposed to anyone else for any other reason. If you have a girl work for you and you say, look, we're going to be business partners, we're going to make money, here's your cut, here's my cut, we're going to work together, blah, 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 blah. Here's the fucking, I've had dudes, I've known loads of guys who've like tried to do a contract with a girl, tried to sit there and talk common sense to a girl. When's the last time talking common sense to a girl has ever worked? Ever. If you're not fucking the girl, she is fucking someone else. And that other person she's fucking is going to have the control over her mind.
Again, control. Control her through money, control her through information, control her through manipulation, control her through sex.
As opposed to you. And if he controls her mind and you don't control her mind, once she starts to pick it up a bit after a few weeks, a few months, whatever, and realizes how to make money on her own, is she going to stay and keep paying you, or is she going to run off and pay her boyfriend, or them two are going to go traveling in Southeast Asia and she's going to work as she goes, or she's going to go to her boyfriend and say, look, fuck it, you type for me. What you actually turn these things into is Bitcoin. So effectively what a webcam company is mining Bitcoin. But instead of mining Bitcoin the traditional way with huge electricity expenses and massively expensive equipment and space and cooling and all that bullshit, you mine Bitcoin with some pussy and titties.
You mine Bitcoin with pussy and titties. That's what he just said. Did I take that out of context? I don't think I did. My whole point in bringing this up is not to bash Andrew Tate, although I'm not a fan, and I don't care to even pretend that I'm a fan. But it's an interesting case. It's an interesting case because it has international intrigue, but you also have, from his own words, the control aspect, how important it is to control these women. I think the government, with this video, with just this one video alone, has an excellent foundation for the sex trafficking charge. But more than that, they also have probably a tax beef that they could levy against him once they start diving into his books. In analyzing this, I really don't want you to think I'm taking anything out of context, because I'm not. But let's see, in his own words, how he's recruited, lured, or retained these girls.
Then you start saying things like, oh yeah, but you're always working. I have to do some traveling and you can't come. I want to bring you with me. Traveling is a great one because the thing about this business is mobile.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
Because I'm not. But let's see, in his own words, how he's recruited, lured, or retained these girls.
Then you start saying things like, oh yeah, but you're always working. I have to do some traveling and you can't come. I want to bring you with me. Traveling is a great one because the thing about this business is mobile. If you can find a good Airbnb with good internet, you can run it somewhere else. So it's a good little caveat to throw in. Oh, and you're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Work for you doing what? So I'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So, okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen. Come, let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. Your Bolton bitch, the new girl, you go out for fucking a nice dinner. Your Bolton bitch is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear it from a girl. And this is where your Bolton bitch has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl.
Remember Ghislaine Maxwell? That was the girl that recruited for Jeffrey Epstein. Almost identical to what he's talking about here. When you put all this into context, you have the way he structured his business. One of the ways that he's lured the girls is by having another girl there, identical to what Epstein was doing. Now, and this is the danger when you have so much stuff that's out there that's reckless, right? Let's see what he has to say about the Romanian court system and their jails.
The Romanian court, so there's some, oh no, not a court in Romania. They're corruption free, as we all know. They put me in jail, I'm gonna walk in there with a pile of money like this.
I'm going to walk in there with a pile of money like this. Did he walk in there with a pile of money?
Boom, 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 this some hoes, this sells mine. I'm ready, put me in jail. I don't give a fuck. You take their court case, shove it up the pile.
He's now in a jail in Romania. He is now going to be subject to the courts in Romania. He just, on this video, I'm sure the prosecutors have this because I have it. If I have it, they have it. Flouting, taunting, showing complete and utter disregard for the Romanian court system, which he's now going to be facing. Now, if you recall, the statement from his own lawyer said Mr. Tate has nothing but the utmost respect for the court system. Well, that's not what it says here. So what I'm trying to get at here is the case for them to be made, and granted, women may come here by their own will or come to Romania and work for him, but there are statements from women saying they wanted to leave, they were controlled, he controlled their passports, he controlled every part of their movement, because if they can come and go as they please, he doesn't have a continuous source of revenue. He doesn't have money coming in. And that's his only goal. He doesn't give a shit about anything else. So you tell me where I've taken things out of context. I haven't taken one thing out of context. This is what he's charged with. These are his own words. And every ounce of this will be used in a court of law. It absolutely will. And so when you're looking at rape charges, sex trafficking charges, and I would venture to guess some tax counts, he was looking at some very, very serious charges. And if there's anything that ties him to the U.S. on this, he could be facing prosecution in the United States as well. This is just an honest assessment of this case. And do I like Andrew Tate? No, but who cares if I like him or don't like him? And I think it would be wrong for me to take things out of context and do a character assassination piece on him, but which isn't what we're doing. But I do think anybody that relies on him for a role model is misguided. He's not an honorable guy. He doesn't show respect to women. He doesn't show respect to anybody that doesn't have a Bugatti. What color is your Bugatti? What color is your Bugatti? Oh, my Bugatti in it. Bullshit. You don't need a Bugatti to be respected. And I would never own a Bugatti. And I'm not saying anything against them. They're kind of cool cars. But what does it cost for a brake job? I mean, it's like $25,000 or something outrageous amount of money. No, the average guy can't do that anyway. I'm more average than I am, than I am like Tate. And absolutely. But I like what I do. I like being a criminal defense lawyer. I love being a father. I love being a role model for everybody around me. I love supporting all of my employees and being there for people. I love hearing stories from you guys saying, hey, you inspired me to go to law school. I love that. And so when you look for a role model, look in another direction. This guy's going down, and I don't mean that, but the case is, he's making the case for them with his own words. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer React.